Good afternoon.
Hey, Patrick, when you go back to Pete getting hired and you guys kind of melding your defensive philosophies and all that together, how has that gone, and what was the biggest challenge for you maybe in that kind of a
Which
process?
one you want me to hit first? Challenge or how's it going?
How's it going?
Okay,
Yeah.
so like the challenge is just really most of the time it's just verbiage. To be honest with you, you know, the interesting thing about the NFL, most teams there's only like 3 to 4 different trees that you're dealing with, and you know the ones that have been successful over time. Again, it's all rooted in fundamentals. In terms of tackling, block destruction, staying on top in terms of coverage. So all that stuff is common. And then in terms of what we do defensively, a lot of this stuff there's little tweaks here and there from different trees and a little bit more emphasis from different trees, but for the most part, it's just really the verbiage. And again, I grew up in the New England system. I was with Spags. I was with Mike Pettin. With Flo, a different part of the New England tree. And then like I went and branched off on my own a little bit. I've been around everybody, so hard to think there's any call I haven't seen or done or coached before. So, and then in terms of how's it going, it's always good to learn from somebody that's experienced and things of that nature, and it's a different perspective. So that's been a good learning experience.
More of an extended look at Darian the last couple of weeks. What have you seen from him, and maybe what's his biggest area of growth been?
The big, again, I think I talked about this last week, his patience at the line of scrimmage, his ability to stay on top in coverage. Again, every defensive back is going to get beat deep at some point. So like again, the biggest thing for me is just telling them, dude, I got all the faith in the world in you. Whether you're going to look at a mistake in the past game or what have you, but got all the faith in the world in that young man. The way he works, the way he opens up his mouth and talks in front of the vets. Any rookie just earning that trust from the veterans, it starts in the meeting room. It starts in the meeting room and him grasping that, and Joe and M-Rob doing a good job of explaining that. M-Rob with his experience being a defensive back in the league for 13 years and at a high level. Joe from being one of the best defensive back coaches in the world in terms of, again, Joe, I just remember all the time just putting on the tape from the different teams he's been on and just saying who coaches the DBs there. So, he's just learning to be more confident, growing in his position, and you got to have a short memory. I don't know one DB, a corner, that doesn't have a short memory. You got to have a short memory. These guys are good, man. They're good. The quarterbacks, the receivers, they're all good.
Keep an eye on him a little bit to make sure that the short memory is intact, especially maybe after a day like you had some struggles.
I think I'd be a bad coach. I keep an eye on all of them. Just even as a defensive coordinator, I don't have a position, but I keep an eye on all of them. Now, naturally, my eyes tend to float to the front, but I keep an eye on the DBs as well.
On that note, I know a head coach is really in charge of the culture in general of the team, but as the defensive coordinator amid a pretty tough season, what are you doing to really help cultivate the buy-in on your side of the ball?
The biggest thing for me, my job is, again, to get these guys prepared. Whether it's the schematics, whether it's the fundamentals, laying out a plan and a routine for the assistant coaches to make sure that we're working on what we need to work on. So that starts, that's part of my job description. I have to do that. And then having those guys ready to go, both mentally, physically, and emotionally, using my past experience and just what I know about them to get them prepared. And then from there, then when we get to the game, I got to put them in the best spot to be successful. So whether it's by unit going out there or situationally having the right call, things of that nature. And then when you have a season like it's gone so far, I point the finger to me first and foremost. Obviously, I haven't done a good enough job, but thankfully we get 17 opportunities, and each week is different. And we got a good opportunity this week against a tough football team, Houston. D'Amico's doing a great job there. Matt Burke, I think that's the defensive coordinator. He does a great job. And then I know Nick Caley, the offensive coordinator, Jerry Shaplinsky. I know a lot of those guys on the staff. They do a good job. You can see what they're doing. And it's going to be a tough matchup because they've built a tough culture. And what else would you want for a Sunday? That's what we talk to the players about. It's going to be a tough matchup versus a bunch of tough guys. Let's go play a tough game. So it's going to be fun.
What have you seen from C.J. Stroud on film? I think it's the first time you've seen him.
Yeah, it's my first time. Yeah, because it was Mills last time when we played him when I was here. This kid, this young man. the size is there, obviously, the mobility, but the way the ball comes out of his hand, I mean, he can throw the ball, and then the decisions he's making, whether it's the quick game decisions he's making or when they're play actions and their boots, he does a good job there. Again, 10 turnovers for the whole season by their team. He's taking what the defense is giving him, and then when there's opportunity, he's throwing the ball down the field. So to me, I mean, you want to call it a game manager? I don't think so. That's playing quarterback in the NFL. He's doing a good job of playing quarterback in the NFL at a high level, and he's one of the more talented athletes in our league.
He and Nico Collins have a pretty good connection. What is it about Nico's game that really stands out to you?
The toughness. I mean, I got nothing but respect for that guy. I mean, the toughness, it jumps off the tape. His ability to catch the ball in traffic, his willingness to break tackles and make plays there. But again, I'll say this: what catches my eyes with receivers first and foremost is how they block in the run game. And they demanded of those guys, and he's doing a good job with that. So again, like I said before, they've built a tough team. They got tough guys, and they're buying into what D'Amico teaches and what Nick teaches right there. So they're a tough team.
Patrick, obviously this is the third regime you've been with the Raiders, and each one has had their struggles at times. Is there anything about where the team is at right now that maybe separates it in your mind, maybe makes you even more optimistic about the future than what you were previously?
I don't want to judge it against the previous regimes. Just dealing with today, really, just to be honest with you, the opportunity ahead of us with Houston. So, again, okay, the season hasn't gone like we wanted, but we got a great matchup. I'm excited about that. I don't know if that's what people want to hear or what they expect, but as a competitor, I'm looking forward to going against Houston. They got the top defense in the league, and they play their asses off. Our guys are tough, and they want to play hard, and they want to measure themselves up against that defense. No different than when we played Denver or whatever. So I'm excited about the opportunity. So to compare regimes, I can't. I'm not there. It's about today. I follow. It's about today. It's about today for me, and it's about today for our guys too.
Sorry, I know you're studying their offense, but the defense is so impressive and so physical. I mean, you get to watch them at all and see what they're doing. And
well, we watch I keep telling you, we watch everything.
Offense.
I mean, you're looking for ideas, man. Shit. I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, you watch them. They're playing fast. They're playing fast. They're playing fast. They're playing fast. They're getting the turnovers. You see that when you're watching the tape. They're having fun out there. So, again, I can't stress it enough. The opportunity on Sunday to play them, very excited about it. Very excited. Again, the familiarity with the coaching staff, the fact that they're on a roll right now. I mean, if you can't get up for this, I mean, something's wrong with you. So excited about it. So.
I know you talked about playing your butts off and being excited for this week. Now 14, 15 weeks into the season here. How do you gauge the compete level, the energy level of your?
I'm going to tell you all this again. Unfortunately for me, as a coordinator, haven't had a winning season. So, but as long as I'm the coordinator, as long as Pete's the head coach, as long as we got Max Crosby and Landon Roberts and we got Adam Butler, I don't know why y'all even ask us that question. It's not going down like that, period. I don't care what the score is. I don't care what the record is. 17 opportunities a year to be a football player. All that other stuff is being a professional footballer, workouts, all that stuff like that. This is what we did when we were kids. This is what we're going to do. And I'll be damned if the guys that I know in that room would do it any other way. I don't know. I mean, y'all can ask me again next week, but that's just how it goes down. All right? Everybody good?
Good.
Thank
you. Thanks, Coach. When you watch this Houston defense on film, just what stands out about the success they've had this year?
Yeah, I mean, they're good on all three levels, really. Their D-line, the linebackers, and secondary are playing really, really well right now. So it's not a surprise when you watch them on tape as, to where they're at right now defensively and statistically across the board in a lot of areas. So it's not a surprise.
A lot of teams that have played them when they've come out of the game have talked about just it's a different level of physicality that they play with. Is there any way to prepare for that or counter it?
Yeah, I mean, where we're at in the season right now, I think for playing the number of games that we've played, you better be up to NFL speed. And certainly they're taking it to another level, and that's a credit to their coaching staff and credit to their players, how fast that they play. They got a real good knowledge of their system, so they're able to play fast, and that certainly helps. But they're very talented, and we've got it, here for us offensively. Certainly having someone like Max Crosby rushing from the other end gives us a good look as far as defensive ends. But you can't scrimmage every day, so you got to fall back on your preparation from throughout the season and know what it's like on game day to get up to that speed.
Limited work, but got a peek at Charles Grant in the game there. What did he show you in his work there?
Well, he's not intimidated. He did some good things. We brought him in some jumbo packages where he had to block, defender right over the top of him, and he did a nice job in the role that we asked him to fill. And again, the game wasn't too big for him. He was able to go out and execute and follow the plan. So we saw some good things there.
I know most of the year we're the quarterbacks coach, but how do you assess Ashton Gentee's rookie season? Like, how would you evaluate it? Stuff, he's broken a lot of tackles, but the yards necessarily aren't there. Like, how do you kind of evaluate it?
Yeah, it's difficult. Obviously, not a lot of space runs for him so far this season. So it's certainly a difficult evaluation for him, for any rookie. And you go back and look at it. It's a learning curve to begin with, but on top of that, not a lot of success in what we've had rushing the football this year. So in terms of running the football, it's been a difficult stretch for him. But as you alluded to, he breaks tackles. We know he's tough inside the tackles. He's very good when he gets out in the open field and has a chance to square up a defensive back, in the back end. Whether he needs to make him miss or run him over, he can do both. So we do like what we see. We give him an open field, and we like his toughness inside. He's gone through, like you said, a very tough rookie season, but he's showing up for work every day. He hits the holes. He moves the pile. So there's some things there that you can look at and evaluate in a good way.
75 yards last week. When you went back and looked at the tape, was there one area that you could pinpoint as being the biggest issue that has to be corrected for this Sunday?
Yeah, we need more possessions, and part of that is certainly staying on the field on third downs. But when you look at it, I think we had 3 possessions in the first half and 3 in the second half, and then two 2-minute drives. And the last 2-minute drive was on our own one with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So we've got to find a way to stay in the field, and doing that is, one, converting third downs or staying out of third downs and getting more first downs on first and second down. So it's just getting more possessions on the field.
Just when you have the challenges up front that you guys have had, does that change the play calling strategy at all? Is there a way to?
No, yeah, you have to. Again, I think that's your role as a play caller, as a coordinator. To me, is always to build around the players that you have, and it's certainly a different system than the ones I've ran in the past. But this is where we're at. And so I've got to do a better job of putting our players in a position to be successful. We got to do a better job with the plan. We got to do a better job in the process during the week, and we got to do a better job of executing each week. But you're always trying to find a way to get the ball in your playmakers' hands and give your quarterback a chance to succeed.
I know it's not your system, like you said, but how much are you able to kind of install on your own or tweak things?
Well, you're trying to, but again, when you go through the OTAs and the mini camps and you're in the middle of the season, it's difficult to make a lot of changes. But again, fortunately, we're able to do some based on my background and what we've done. But you can't make a wholesale change. Obviously, you can't do that. I mean, it's just undoable there. So we're just trying to, again, I'm trying to make tweaks and fit within the system, do some things I've done in the past that will help us kind of going forward.
Coach, I know it's not your first rodeo as Raiders interim OC, but what has this challenge been like working now alongside Pete Carroll in doing so?
Well, it is my first time as an interim OC, but I just took over for John Gruden, where I was OC as a play caller. But it's certainly not an easy task, but it's one that I've done before at other places as well, other teams. So again, you try to come in every day, right, with the energy and commitment, and make sure that the players are still giving the effort that you need. I think it's about competing with Pete. It's about competing every day to get better and making sure that the players are in the right mindset from where we're at in the season, which is a big part of it. When you take something over, is making sure that the players lost their coordinator, and other coaches on the staff, they lost a coordinator. So, well, we've still got to come in. We've got a job to do. So let's make sure that when we come into work every day, that we got the proper attitude, and we're ready to compete every day to try and get better and continue to put something on film, that's showing that we're getting better every week. So I think that's the biggest part, from Pete Carroll, is that, come in and compete and get better. And even if it's 1%, well, we've got to get better on a daily basis.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it.